Hello students, this is the next lecture for Business Statistics first paper for S5 BCom students. Name of the topic is Multiple Regression, Multiple and Partial Correlation. Today we will see how to fit a regression plane of X3 on X1 and X2. The equation of plane of regression of X3 on X1 and X2 is given by X1 minus X1 bar R31 upon sigma 1 plus X2 minus X2 bar R32 upon sigma 2 plus X3 minus X3 bar R33 upon sigma 3 is equal to 0, where matrix R is given by 1 R12 R13 R21 1 R23 R31 R32 and 1. We have to calculate capital R31 as minus 1 raised to 3 plus 1. Hide third row and first column. The things which are remaining are R12, R13, 1 and R23. So this can be considered as minus 1 raised to 4 R12 into R23 minus 1 into R13, which is equal to plus 1, because minus 1 raised to 4 becomes plus 1 R12 into R23 minus R13. Then formula for capital R32 can be derived as minus 1 raised to 3 plus 2. Hide third row and second column. So things which are remaining are 1, R21, R13 and R23. So this can be written as minus 1 raised to 5, 1 into R23 minus R21 into R13, which is nothing but minus 1 into R23 minus R21 into R13. Then capital R33 is equal to minus 1 raised to 3 plus 3, 1, hide third row and third column. So 1 R12, R21 and 1, which is equal to minus 1 raised to 6, 1 into 1 minus R12 into R12. So which is nothing but minus 1 raised to 6 becomes plus 1, 1 minus R12 square. Here X3 is a dependent variable and X1 and X2 are independent variables. This equation is used to predict X3 when X1 and X2 are given. There is one more alternative method to get the equation. The equation of plane of regression of X3 on X1 and X2 is given by X3 is equal to B31.2 X2 plus B32.1 X3. So B31.2, the formula is minus sigma 3 upon sigma 1 capital R31 upon 33 capital R33, and B32.1 is nothing but minus sigma 3 upon sigma 1 capital R32 upon capital R33, which can be solved further as the equation of plane of regression of X3 on X1 and X2 can be given by X3 minus X1 bar is equal to sigma 3 upon sigma 1 R31 minus R12 into R23 divided by 1 minus R square 12 into bracket X1 minus X1 bar plus sigma 3 upon sigma 2 R32 minus R12 into R13 divided by 1 minus R square 12 into bracket X2 minus X2 bar. We will see the example based on this particular concept. From the following results obtained in a study of a random sample of 120 students. First part of the problem, obtain first part least square regression equation of X3 on X1 and X2. Second part of the problem, estimate X3 when X1 is equal to 60 and X2 is equal to 78. The values which are given are as X1 bar is equal to 68, X2 bar is equal to 70, X3 bar is equal to 74. Sigma 1 square is equal to 100, sigma 2 square is equal to 25, sigma 3 square is equal to 81. So R12 total correlation coefficients are given as R12 is equal to 0.6, R13 is equal to 0.7, R23 is equal to 0.65, where X1, X2 and X3 denote the percentage of marks obtained by students in test 1, test 2 and final examination respectively. The equation of plane of regression of X3 on X1 and X2 is given by X1 minus X1 bar R31 upon sigma 1 plus X2 minus X2 bar R32 upon sigma 2 plus X3 minus X3 bar R33 upon sigma 3 is equal to 0, where matrix R is given by 1 R12 R13 R21 1 R23 R31 R32 and 1. We will replace these values which are given in the problem statement. So the matrix R can be written as 1, 0.6, 0.7, 0.6, 1, 0.65, 0.7, 0.65 and 1. Now we will calculate capital R31, capital R32 and capital R33. So R31 is equal to minus 1 raised to 3 plus 1. Hide third row and first column. So 0.6, 0.7, 1 and 0.65, which is equal to minus 1 raised to 4, 0.6 into 0.65 minus 1 into 0.7. So if you solve it further, it becomes 0.39 minus 0.7. So the answer is minus 0.31. Next, R32 is equal to minus 1 raised to 3 plus 2. Now see, we have to hide third row and second column. So third row and second column we will hide. So 1, 0.6, 0.7 and 0.65. 1, 0.6, 0.7 and 0.65, which can be considered as minus 1 raised to 5, 1 into 0.65 minus 0.6 into 0.7. So minus 1 raised to 5 becomes minus 1. So 0.65 minus 0.42. So R32 is equal to minus 0.23. Then R33 is equal to minus 1 raised to 3 plus 3. Hide third row and third column. So third row and third column, if you hide, it becomes 1, 0.60, 0.60 and 1. So 1, 0.60, 0.60 and 1. So this can be considered as minus 1 raised to 6, 1 into 1 minus 0.6 into 0.6, which is equal to 1 minus 0.36. So R33, the value becomes 0.64. The equation of plane of regression of X3 on X1 and X2 is given by X1 minus X1 bar R31 upon sigma 1 plus X2 minus X2 bar R32 upon sigma 2 plus X3 minus X3 bar R33 upon sigma 3 is equal to 0. Now we will replace all the values which are given in the problem statement. The equation becomes X1 minus 68 into minus 0.31 divided by 10. Actually we are given sigma square as 100. See, sigma square value is 100. So sigma 1 becomes 10, sigma 2 is 5 and sigma 3 is 8. We will take the square root because squares are given. So minus 0.31 divided by 10 plus x2 minus 70 into minus 0.23 divided by 5 plus x3 minus 74 into 0.64 divided by 9 is equal to 0. Now first of all we will divide the terms. So x1 minus 68 into bracket minus 0.031 plus x2 minus 70. Perform this division. 0.23 divided by 5 becomes minus 0.046 plus x3 minus 74. The values are 0.64 divided by 9. So answer is 0.07111. which is equal to 0. Now open the brackets. The equation becomes minus 0.031x1 plus multiply 68 with 0.031. It becomes plus 2.108 minus 0.046x2 minus into minus becomes plus 70 into 0.046. The answer is plus 3.22 plus 0.07111 x3 minus 5.262241 is equal to 0. So the equation can be written as minus 0.031x1 minus 0.046x2 plus 0.07111x3 plus we take all the constant terms together. The answer becomes 0.065786 is equal to 0. So 0.07111x3. Now we will express the equation in terms of x3. So we will keep x3 term on left hand side. So 0.07111x3 is equal to this minus term. If you take on right hand side, it becomes plus 0.031 x1 plus this is also minus term 0.046 x2. It will become plus and this is plus term. If you take it to right hand side, it will become minus 0.065786. Still the equation is not in terms of x3. So to get the equation in terms of x3, we will divide all the three terms by the constant of 0.07111. So x3 is equal to 0.031 divided by 0.07111 x1 plus 0.046 divided by 0.07111 x2 minus 0.06786 divided by 0.07111. So perform the divisions. The terms becomes x3 is equal to 0.4359 x1 plus 0.6468 x2 minus 0.925110707. This is the equation of x3 on x1 and x2. Now in the second part of the problem, we have to estimate x3 when x1 is equal to 60 and x2 is equal to 78. So x3 cap is equal to 0.4359 into 60 plus 0.6468 into 78 minus 0.925110707. So first of all, multiply these two terms, even these two terms, and add all the three terms together. So x3 cap is given as 75.6852. Alternative method. The equation of plane of regression of x3 on x1 and x2 is given by x3 is equal to b31.2 x2 plus b32.1 x3. So b31.2 is equal to minus sigma 3 upon sigma 1 into r31 upon r33 and b32.1 is nothing but minus sigma 3 upon sigma 1 r32 divided by r33. We can solve this equation further as the equation of plane of regression of x3 on x1 and x2 can be given by x3 minus x3 bar is equal to sigma 3 upon sigma 1 r31 minus r12 into r23 divided by 1 minus r square 12 into bracket x1 minus x1 bar plus sigma 3 upon sigma 2 r32 minus r12 into r13 divided by 1 minus r square 12 into bracket x2 minus x2 bar. See the example based on this concept. From the following results obtained in a study of a random sample of 120 students, obtain first part least square regression equation of x3 on x1 and x2. Estimate x3 when x1 is equal to 60 and x2 is equal to 78. the values are given. X1 bar is equal to 68, X2 bar is equal to 70, X3 bar is equal to 74. Sigma 1 square is equal to 100. Therefore, sigma 1 is equal to 10. Sigma 2 square is equal to 25. Therefore, sigma 2 is equal to 5. Sigma 3 square is equal to 81. Therefore, sigma 3 is equal to 9. R12 is equal to 0.6. R13 is equal to 0.7 and R23 is equal to 0.65. The problem statement is same which we have solved in the first part, where X1, X2 and X3 denote the percentage of marks obtained by students in test 1, test 2 and final exam respectively. We know that final exam marks will depend on marks of test 1 and marks of test 2. It means that X3 is a dependent variable and X1, X2 are independent variables. The equation of plane of regression of X3 on X1 and X2 is given by X3 minus X3 bar is equal to sigma 3 upon sigma 1 R31 minus R12 into R23 divided by 1 minus R square 12 into bracket X1 minus X1 bar plus sigma 3 upon sigma 2 R32 minus R12 into R13 divided by 1 minus R square 12 into bracket X2 minus X2 bar. We replace all the values in the above equation and solve it further. X3 minus 74 is equal to 9 upon 10, 0.7 minus 0.6 into 0.65 divided by 1 minus 0.6 square into bracket X1 minus 68 plus 9 upon 5, 0.65 minus 0.6 into 0.7 divided by 1 minus 0.6 square into bracket X2 minus 70. So, therefore, X3 minus 74 is equal to, perform the divisions and multiplications. We are getting the value as 0.9 into 0.31 divided by 0.64 into bracket X1 minus 68 plus 1.8 into 0.23 divided by 0.64 into bracket X2 minus 70. So, just perform the calculations. The values becomes X3 minus 74 is equal to 0.4359375 into bracket X1 minus 68 plus 0.646875 into bracket X2 minus 70. So X3 minus 74 is equal to, we will open the brackets, 0.4359375 X1 minus 29.64375 plus 0.646875 X2 minus 45.28125. So we can take 74 on this side. So X3 is equal to 0.4359375 X1 plus 0.646875 X2. If you add these two numbers, it becomes minus 74.925. Both the numbers are negative, that's why the sign is negative, and plus 74 we have taken from left hand side. So the equation becomes X3 is equal to 0.4359375 X1 plus 0.646875 X2 minus 0.925. So therefore the equation of plane of regression of X3 on X1 and X2 is given by X3 is equal to 0.4359375 X1 plus 0.646875 X2 minus 0.925. This equation is same as that we got it in the first part of the problem. Now second part, to estimate X3 when X1 is equal to 60 and X2 is equal to 78. So replace this X1 by 60 and X2 by 78, then perform the calculations. X3 cap is equal to 0.4359375 into 60 plus 0.646875 into 78 minus 0.925. So the first product becomes 26.15625. Second product becomes 50.45625 minus 0.925 is the constant term. So if you add or subtract according to the signs, x3 cap becomes 75.6875.